I gotta always stay strong. I gotta always keep.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy Cardinal Bud Crawford. New topic for today, y'all. Cold feet. Why won't Terence Crawford sign the contract to fight Errol Spence Jr.? So, we know now, we know the truth, we know the contract is out there, we know at this point it's pretty much up to money and Terence Crawford. Is the money right? Are you ready to sign the contract? Are you willing to sign the contract to make the fight that everybody who supports you has been saying? The other side has been unwilling to make the fight. The other side hasn't been fair with the money. The other side hasn't actually been offering the fight to you. Now the truth is out there, and everybody knows that there's a contract. There's a set amount of money that they're offering you, and it's up to you to actually sign off so this fight can be made and fans can finally get what they've been wanting for over, 3, maybe even 4 years. Is it cold feet? Has Terence Crawford all of a sudden got cold feet about the ESJ fight? And what can make Terence Crawford get cold feet about this fight? That could only be a couple of things. That could only be fear of losing. That could only be a fear of, signing off and you didn't get the price tag that you want, and you feel like if you lose for a cheaper price, then you kind of shot yourself in the foot in a way. Or there could be venue problems, and maybe he wants a different venue to put the fight on at, and I can give him that. I can say, hey, maybe maybe it's a little unfair for them to have the fight in Texas. I would give him a neutral venue. I would say, yeah, he deserves a neutral venue. If he can't get the price he wants, at least you could give him a neutral venue. I will give that to Terence Crawford. So if that's his hold up, that shouldn't be what's stopping the fight. Because in all actuality, Errol Spence is the draw. They would probably make way more money in Texas. They would probably fill that Cowboy Stadium up. And, it would be a lot more lucrative for him to probably have it in the Cowboy Stadium than to have it like in Vegas or in Cali. Or like in New York or maybe Chicago or something like that, but maybe Florida. I think maybe Florida, if they could do it down in Florida, maybe in like the Mariner Stadium or maybe in the Dolphin Stadium, I think that would be fair for Terence Crawford. I think a neutral site would be fair. Or why not? And I know this would be controversial because everybody in America, the fans in America want to see this fight live. So I think it would be controversial for them to take it overseas. But, would that make Terence Crawford feel more comfortable if they did a neutral site overseas somewhere, Dubai, the EU, somewhere over that way? Would that make him feel more comfortable with actually accepting the fight? Now, would that ever happen? I seriously 99.99% doubt that they would actually take it overseas. But I would say that that's a legitimate argument for Terence Crawford if his holdup is the venue. And then you got the argument of, is he just, is he scared of losing? Now, to me, I think that would be I think that that's the real holdup. I think he finally realizes, and when things get to a negotiating point of where this might actually happen, you start thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And I said this to somebody who commented, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. He's kind of put himself into a situation to where he's left his promoter. You left $5 million on the table. You left your promoter. You accused your promoter of some stuff. Your promoter is actually is actually your safety net. You know, he's the one actually trying to keep you from getting put in a position where you get taken advantage of, and you left your safety net behind. So he's in a situation now to where I think he has to rethink the whole negotiation process, and he kind of has to drag this out a little bit, because he has to get Errol Spence to give on something, I think, for him to make himself feel comfortable, just in case he does lose in this fight. So if he can't get the price tag he wants, 15, 20 million, then I think he will want the venue. If he can't get the venue he wants, I think he would want to pick the ref and the judges. If he can't get the ref and the judges that he wants, I think his last stand would probably be, I want to pick what type of drug testing we do. Which one of those things ought to hold up? I would more than likely hang my hat on. It's probably the venue that's the hold up. I'm pretty sure they've offered Terence Crawford somewhere in the range of 10 to $15 million for this fight. Errol Spence is probably going to get in the range from 20 to maybe even 30, maybe even a little more than 30, because he's the draw and he's got all those belts. So, where could they stage the fight? It's definitely not going to happen in Terence Crawford's hometown, because Spence would be stupid to give him an advantage like that. But if it's unfair for them to have it in Dallas, because Crawford feels like he's going to have too much of a home field of advantage, where are other places that they could stage the fight? I don't like Vegas. I don't like the Vegas venue. I don't think that that's the right venue for this fight. This fight is so big, I think it needs to be in a stadium. It has to be in a stadium. I don't want to see them do this fight in a casino. I would rather them do this fight in a stadium. It could be a basketball stadium. It could be a basketball stadium. If they can find a 50,000, 60,000 seater basketball stadium, that would be decent. But what's bigger than 100,000 plus fans in a football stadium? It don't get no bigger than that unless you do it in maybe a baseball stadium. Like I said, there's the Mariner Stadium down in Florida. There's the Miami Dolphins Stadium down in Florida. It would be a neutral site for both guys. And I think Terence Crawford might feel a little bit more comfortable taking this fight on a neutral site. Now, if like I said, once again, if he can't get the venue, get them to give him some leeway on the venue, what is his next argument? What can his next holdup be? What can his next argument, or the next thing that he hangs his hat on to say, well, if you're not going to give me this one, give me this one? It would be, I think, the picking of the referee and the judges. I think he would want to pick the judges and the referee. Could Errol Spence give a little bit on that? I think, if Errol Spence is getting 25 to 30 million for this fight, and he gets to pick the stadium or the venue that they have it in, and he gets to have it in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, then I would say it would be fair to even give Terence Crawford the ref, the judges, and the drug testing. That would be fair in my mind. But is that fair in Errol Spence's mind? I don't know. I can't speak for Errol Spence. I'm not a part of his team. I know that's giving up a lot, but you got to understand that, having it in Dallas is giving up a lot for Terence Crawford. Him taking 10, maybe 10, let's say he gets the low end. Let's say they're not even giving him 15. They're just giving him 10 million. So he would only get 10 million. It would be in a venue to where it's kind of biased to Errol Spence. Errol Spence would get to pick the refs, the judges, and the drug testing. And then like I said in my last video, that's a Floyd Mayweather situation to where everything is against you. And I would never sign that contract if I was Terence Crawford. If I was Terence Crawford, I would never sign that contract. Just go back, look what happened to Manny Pacquiao, look what happened to all the fighters that fought Floyd Mayweather when Floyd Mayweather had everything to his advantage. And this is what I'm trying to get you Crawford fans to understand. This really has nothing, when it comes to me critiquing Terence Crawford. I don't care if he wins or loses. I don't care if Errol Spence wins or loses. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just stating the obvious stuff, you know, and I'm trying to give Terence Crawford and his fans some advice. Like, if you can't win one thing, you can win another. You know, I definitely wouldn't sign that contract if everything is in Errol Spence's favor, because you're not going to win that fight. You're not going to win that fight. If you go down to Dallas and he gets the venue, he gets the judges, he gets the ref, he gets the testing he wants, and he gets $25 million for the fight, you are going to lose that fight. You're definitely going to lose that fight. You're going to get Floyd Mayweather, and what then for you? You know, if you lose, it is completely over for your career. Now, you can go back down to 130 and, you know, try to remake a name for yourself. But 147, everybody's going to come for your throat at that point. And the same person asked me, am I trying to make it seem like Terence Crawford will become a gatekeeper if he lost to Errol Spence? At 147, he would. He would become a gatekeeper. And everybody who's up and coming is going to go at his neck because they're going to see how to beat him. You know, once people see how to beat you, then it gives those people something to train for. It gives them people a reason to want to come at you because they know how to beat you at that point. So guys like Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, and God, I wish I could remember this other dude's name that Caps be talking about all the time, but I can't. But Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, definitely. And you would have to match up with those two guys because they're the next two biggest names in welterweight boxing if Errol Spence was to unify. And because we already know that if he unifies and becomes undisputed, he's going to 154. Whether he holds the belts hostage for a year or whatever, then and what's going to end up happening if Terence Crawford loses and stays at 147, then he has to go fight a Virgil Ortiz, a Jaron Ennis, or that other guy to get pushed back up in the rankings. So yeah, he does become a gatekeeper, and the only way he doesn't become a gatekeeper is if he goes back down to 140, 135, because I think he can go down there and dominate for a little while, because he, like everybody says about Errol Spence, he's the big guy at 140, 135, where at 147, he's not the biggest guy out there, and he's not the biggest fish out there. Whether you think Errol Spence is the big fish because of his talent or his body size, well, down at 140, 135, Terence Crawford is a big body. So, I think that's it for now, man. Let me know what y'all think about that. Is Terence Crawford getting cold feet about signing the contract? Why won't he sign the contract? Is it cold feet? Or perhaps Terence Crawford just wants a little bit of give on something. Y'all gotta give me something, man. Give me something. Alright, y'all, I'm out of here. It's your boy. I done rambled on enough. It's your boy Cardinal Red, and Cardinal Red on all social media platforms. Hit me up, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We are...
It's hot as hell in this project building. Got the fan blowing in the window.